I'm going to be sharing with you Matthew 6, verse 27, which says, "Can any one of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your life?" I'm bringing this verse to you today because it has been key in my life to lock the door to worry and to escape it, and I hope it can do the same for you. I come from a family of worriers. My dad and my grandmother were the worst. They would say things like, "Oh, I'm always worrying about you," or "I can't sleep because I'm so worried about you." And this would be almost synonymous with "I love you." And so you can see with a family like that, it was easy for me to fall into the trap of worry. And there are so many things that we can worry about on the face of it. Our friends, our family, job, our health, housing. We think like this: what if I don't know what to do? What if I can't do it? What if I lose my job? What if I don't have enough money? What if it's all my fault? What if I'm alone? What if they're not safe? What if this never gets better? What if? But it's more than just thoughts, it's also physical. This is fear. It has physical consequences. You might have your heart beating fast. You might have difficulty breathing. Your stomach and your bowels might churn. You might lose sleep. You might be nauseous. You might have panic attacks. You might have anxiety. You might just be unable to get a situation out of your health, it going round and round and round, unable to escape it. We can be held completely captive to worry, unable to think of anything else, unable to imagine that this situation could get better. It sounds awful, doesn't it? Does any of this sound familiar to you? What worries do you have? What physical symptoms have you noticed because of worry? When I was younger, one worry I had was about whether or not I'd locked my car. I would pull the handle again, 30 times, 40 times, 50 times. What if it got stolen? What if I wasn't paying attention all those previous times? 2 years ago, my daughter started at secondary school and she was going to be walking home for the first time. You can imagine the what-ifs that went through my brain up to the very worst-case scenario of what could have happened to her, and it just made me miserable. All these things that we worry about are things that are out of our control. We can't control our family's health. We can't control what happens to our friends and family when they're out of our sight. I couldn't control what happened to my car when it was gone. I might lose my job. It's possible. These things are real and out of our control, and not being able to control it is scary in itself. So, what does Jesus say about worry? Can any one of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your life? All this energy that we spend worrying, can it add even 1 hour to our lives? Of course not. If you have a different translation of the Bible, it might say, "Can any one of you, by worrying, add a single cubit to your height?" You might think, how can these things be the same? It does use the word cubit in the Greek, which is perus, which literally means your forearm. It's a unit of measurement from your elbow to the end of your middle finger. So on me, it's about this long. So what it says is, can any one of you, by worrying, add this much to your life? How about this much? How about this much? Can we add anything at all? No. But what we can do is shorten our lives by worrying. All that stress takes a physical toll. I'm sure people have shortened their lives by worrying. If you imagine all the time in your life that you spent worrying, how much does that add up to? Days? Years for me too. But how much of that time that you spent worrying was spent worrying about things that never happened in the end? What a waste. What a waste of life. It never even happened. Do you remember that Jesus said in John 10, verse 10, "The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I have come that they may have life and have it to the full." Does worry sound like life to the full? Or does it sound like a stolen and destroyed life? Jesus did not come so that we would be prisoners to worry. He came to set the captives free. So, worry's pointless. Don't worry. Easier said than done, right? What can we actually do? Jesus said this in John 8. If you hold to my teaching, you are really my disciples. Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. We are set free by holding to his teachings and knowing the truth. We need to know the truth about worry, that it doesn't add anything, that it costs us. But we also need to know the truth about who God is, and in particular, how much he loves us. Consider this. When you think about the things you worry about, do you worry like this? What if God is there? What if God does a miracle? What if God sends help? No, me neither. No, we don't worry like that. But it's funny because the one thing that we are guaranteed of in the future is that God is going to be there. He promises that all over the Bible. For example, Joshua 1 verse 5, I will never leave you nor forsake you. Matthew 28 verse 20, surely I am with you always to the very end of the age. I'm sure many of you here can think of many other verses that say more or less the same thing. God is determined that we should know that he will always be with us, that he will not leave us. In Psalm 139 verse 16 it says, all the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. God knows about every day in your future. There are no surprises for him, and he's already there. Well, we're not talking about some sort of God who sits in heaven on a sofa with his feet up, eating popcorn, watching our lives on TV. He's not passive like that. He's active. We know that because of his word. He's got a whole book of things that he wants to say to you. We also know that because of his actions, that though he is the glorious, holy, immortal God, he made himself human and came to earth, Jesus, for the very purpose of dying for our sins on the cross. Why? Because he loves us. He loves us enough to take action, not just sit back and watch. Romans 8:32, he who did not spare his own son, but gave him up for us all, how will he not also, along with him, graciously give us all things? If he was willing to die for you, will he not also help you with the things that you're worried about? Of course he will. He loves you too much. So one thing we can be sure of in the future is that God will be there for you. Choose to see the future in the light of that truth. My eyesight isn't particularly good. It's not too bad. When I wake up in the morning, I don't have my glasses on, of course. I could choose to live my life like that, but I might fall over. I might be afraid of something that over there because I can't see what it is properly. I might be too scared to move from this spot in case something happens. But I don't live my life like that. I choose to put my glasses on so I can see the world for what it is. In the same way, we need to choose to put on the glasses of God's presence. We're not talking about some sort of rose-tinted glasses that distort the world. We're talking about seeing the world and choosing to see the world in the light of the fact that God is there, that he loves you, and he will always be there. You remember I told you about my car pulling on the handle. I realized that if someone else was there with me, I wasn't so bad. I would pull it. I would say to them, is it locked? And they'd say, yes. And then I could walk away. But when I was on my own, that's when I had the problem. God said to me, pull the door handle twice, look at me, I saw it, you can walk away. I pulled it was really hard the first time. I pulled it twice. I said, God, you said if I did this, it would be okay. You saw it, I'll walk away. It was very hard the first time. And of course it was fine, nothing happened. And it just got easier over time to the extent now I pull it once and I walk away and I don't threaten God. I can trust him. Looking back over my daughter walking back from school, there was only really one time where something actually did happen. She fell down and twisted her ankle. But it just so happened that at that time an ambulance was passing. They saw her, the paramedics got out and checked on her and called me to come and get her. Though I wasn't with her, though I hadn't thought about that day, God was already protecting her. God can help you break out of your patterns of worry. He can look after your loved ones even when you are not there with them. You might say to me, but a twisted ankle's nothing, Rachel. Tragedies do happen. People die, people get sick, they do lose their jobs, and you are right. But it's also true to remember, he will be with you in that tragedy. There are many of us here who can witness to that, and if I had more time, I would love to. That when tragedy happens, he is with us, he comforts us, he makes a way through it. He will help you if the worst does happen. So, yes, he is no stranger to suffering. Remember, he suffered torture and died on a cross. He understands suffering. He'll be with you in your suffering. So to conclude, when you are tempted to worry, see the truth of worry. It is not going to help. It's just going to cost you. It won't extend your life at all. Choose to put your glasses back on. See the world in the light of the one thing that we know for certain, which is that God is with you, will be with you, never will leave you, will help you. Trust him.